Armada Kickoff is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, Community First Credit Union, Winn-Dixie, Baptist Health, and Bowden Eye and Associates.
Hello and welcome into Armada Kickoff. What a week it's been for soccer in Jacksonville. The U.S. men's national team played and won here in town. One of the members of the Armada got on the field. We'll hear from Kevon George coming up in just a bit. Also, the Armada looking to bounce back from their first bout of adversity, coming off a loss under Mark Lowry. We'll also have David Hayes and Andy Kidd here on the Analyst Roundtable, and Andy will take a closer look at what he sees as some keys going forward in the Armada boot room. But let's start with the Armada and their action on the road. The Armada had a 4-match unbeaten streak alive as they headed to North Carolina. Interestingly enough, that streak started with a draw at home against the Railhawks. Could they keep it going in suburban Cary, North Carolina? Let's head to Raleigh.
Early in the first half, the Armada had control more than less, and Jamal Johnson, a little mini corner here, had it on target. Brian Silvestri punched it away. Then, free kick in the 38th minute, Omar Bravo, and look at Miguel Gallardo, kind of awkwardly went down. Injury to the upper leg. He had to come out. Sean Lewis came in 5 minutes later. Shipolani would take advantage of a beautiful feed from Nazmi Al-Badawi. Caught Lewis in no man's land. Take another look at it here. With the rain coming down in North Carolina, Al-Badawi, beautiful pass to set things up, and just a one-touch from Shipolani makes it a 1-0 Carolina game at that point. Second half, Pekka Lagerblom fouled just outside the area. It was very close to being a PK, but that would set up this free kick from Keita. Blocked by the wall, then Keita again. How Brian Silvestri even saw this one is beyond me. Somehow got a foot on it. Charles Ilundu came in as a sub and created some opportunities, including this one for Zach Steinberger, who will want this one back. Sends it just wide. Looked like he had Silvestri off his line enough that he could take advantage, and that was the last best opportunity for Mark Lowry's side. Armada see their 4-match unbeaten streak go by the wayside. Colin Clark's side wins it 1-0 the final.
And you see the numbers there, and possession percentage really jumps out at you. The Armada actually had an edge in this early, but Carolina really started getting into a rhythm and was possessing the ball. They had twice as many shots, more corners. And look at the passing in the opponent's half. Pretty good number for Carolina. The Armada need to be better there for sure. They gave up just the 1 goal, but it was all it took for the Railhawks to end the Armada's 4-match unbeaten streak. Now let's convene the Analyst Roundtable presented by Subway.
Players that you can switch around, and we're going to be very strong.
We saw a lot of different players, a lot of different lineups.
Welcome in the Analyst Roundtable presented by Subway. David Hayes, Andy Kidd. All right, let's start with the U.S. What were your takeaways for the U.S. against Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, it was a great match. The U.S. showed that they can create a lot of scoring chances against a pretty athletic Trinidad team without a Clint Dempsey in the lineup, and Pulisic is a star in the making right now, and I think he's really coming into his own on the national team.
Yeah, I think Christian's going to change a lot of games for us. I think Sasha showed that he's reborn.
Yeah, he's back.
I think Altidore is the best form I've seen him in a while. Our midfield just needs a little bit of work, but other than that, I liked it.
Speaking of Christian Pulisic, that he was clearly the guy who was standing out on the field. You could see what he has. There's such a temptation just to put him out there, let him go. Should Jurgen Klinsmann continue to take it slow with him?
I think so. I mean, you take, Bobby Convey and Freddie Adu, but then on the flip side, you take Landon. So for me, we're putting St. Vincent's, playing St. Vincent's in Trinidad and Tobago. We're getting him in a good situation. So I like him in those kind of games. I don't like him in a bigger game because I think it might hurt him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Klinsmann does. Should the U.S. take on Mexico early in the next round in the Hex, if Pulisic goes into that big of an environment like David says and he struggles confidence-wise for a 17-year-old, that would be
Hey, by the way, he's playing in the Bundesliga.
Right,
big
right.
environments
Sure,
are not going to,
sure.
you wouldn't think, overwhelm him.
Right, no, and that's what you wonder is it's one thing to play, as David said, Trinidad and Tobago and score a goal and set up your teammates and a 4-0 game, but in a 0-0 game against Mexico and the crowd and all that, he's still 17. So I would say he's still going to bring them along slowly, and he may not start that Mexico game.
He's still 17 for another week.
Yeah.
Then he's 18 and
yeah,
fun.
he's an adult.
Guys, stick around. We'll have more coming up here in just a bit. Well, the Armada coming off their first loss under head coach Mark Lowry. So how will he handle things, and more importantly, how will the team respond? Let's hear from Mark Lowry now in Coach's Corner, presented by Asana Wellness Center, the official training facility of the Jacksonville Armada.
What I've seen already is a concentration and a different focus from the group. And we had a meeting before we started practice, and we said, no matter how you think the performance went or how well things have been going, a loss always focuses the mind a little bit more than a win. Just a natural human reaction, I think. So we need to take that extra focus, that extra concentration that's happened since the game, and use it this week to become better, fix any mistakes we made, and just prepare ourselves as best we possibly can for Sunday against Rayo.
You're going to be pretty short-handed in terms of the roster. I mean, you mentioned you have a big roster, but a lot of guys who have played key roles for you aren't going to be available.
Yeah, there's that, and we've still got to see how Nishak, Keelan and Carl come back from international duty. You never know what's happened there. I mean, I'm sure they've had a busy week or so as well with 2 games, so hopefully they can come back feeling as fresh as possible. Obviously got Miguel that we're looking at, and 1 or 2 things like that. But we've got Sean, who's got 6 or 7 games under his belt already, and he came on and did very well this past weekend, so he can step in for Miguel. And the rest of the squad, like I said, we'll know more probably by Thursday, Friday, after we get those 3 guys back and how the week progresses, how we're feeling.
And Keelan isn't that far to travel. Right,
exactly. He comes right back in.
Speaking of these guys and their international experience, what's the best case scenario for a club manager when you see guys going away? You want them to play a little bit and have great success when they do? Is that sort of what
you want them to pick up confidence almost. I mean, representing your country and playing well in that arena has to fill anybody with confidence. So you hope they get that exposure. You hope they can come back with confidence and obviously healthy. So I'd say, that extra confidence that they might get from playing for their country, but also not getting injured is two of the biggest pieces.
Well, you heard Mark Lowry talking about the 3 Armada players who are on international duty this past week. Carl Ouimet with Canada, Meshach Jerome with Haiti, and Kevon George with Trinidad and Tobago. He earned his 23rd cap for his home country, and it came against the United States. What an evening it was earlier this week with the U.S. qualifying for the Hex in the World Cup Qualifier against Trinidad.
The U.S. came into Tuesday night's match having never lost in Jacksonville. 43rd minute, ball out in front. Sasha Kleshchin, who has rejoined the U.S. men's national team and made it look easy, scores. He scored against St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well. It's been an easy transition for Kleshchin. Take another look at it again on a ball that wasn't cleared out. 1-0 U.S. Then later in the second half, 59th minute, Josie Altidore. Boy, does he love playing in Jacksonville. Scored 2 goals in the send-off game against Nigeria in 2014. Scores here to make it a 2-0 contest. Just a couple of minutes later, Altidore again, this time from Christian Pulisic, who was just a dominant force, shy of his 18th birthday. Altidore scoring the goals, Pulisic making plays happen. 71st minute, Altidore again in the box, this time feeding Pulisic. Save made, but it comes right to the foot of Jeff Areola. He scores his second U.S. goal. 4-0 United States. They win the group and now move on to the Hex.
When you're around good players, soccer becomes a little bit easier. So Michael's very easy to play with. Josie I've spent a lot of time with over the past 10 years playing games together. And I watch these guys play every time there's a national team game too, so I know their tendencies. It was pretty easy. It was good.
I mean, look, it's good to come home. Wherever we are, we want to make sure that we have a home base. Jacksonville was great to us tonight, and looking forward, against Mexico, hopefully, wherever we are, Columbus, it's a good spot for us, and, we can put in a good performance.
Josie Altidore mentioning Columbus. That will be where the United States will take on Mexico, almost certainly, in the first game of the Hex. Here's the Armada schedule coming up. This weekend on the road, second of 3 consecutive aways. They go to Rayo OKC for the first time ever. And then on September the 17th, Puerto Rico. First time the Armada will head to Puerto Rico before they come home. Next home match, September the 24th at Community First Park. Rayo OKC comes to town. For tickets, call 844-2-ARMADA or go online to armadafc.com. Coming up, we go around the NASL, starting to get a pretty good picture of what the playoff chase is going to look like. Plus, we'll head back to the Analyst Roundtable as well. Stick around, more to come. Armada Kickoff rolls on.
To enter for your chance to participate in the Winn-Dixie Bubble Battle, visit your nearest Winn-Dixie in your Armada gear, take a selfie, and post it to any of the Armada social media using the hashtag WinnDixieBB. 2 winners will be selected every Wednesday during a home match week. Assemble a team of 3, and you're ready for battle.
We're in the final 2 months of the NASL season, and we're starting to see how that chase for the NASL championship semifinal spots are beginning to shake out. Let's go around the NASL, presented by Nike.
Let's start north of the border with the Canadian Derby, where Ottawa and FC Edmonton going at it. Bad giveaway allows the opportunity for Tommy Stewart, and he takes advantage. But 2 goals from Daryl Fordyce, enough to earn a draw. 2-2, Ottawa and Edmonton deadlocked north of the border. Puerto Rico and Miami, the RFC already down 1-0 when Dario Svitanic nets his 7th goal of the season. Miami would win it 3-0. Indy and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Rowdies up 1-0, 34th minute, but Omar Gordon would get on the end of this one. Nifty little bit of work between 2 Rowdies defenders. He equalizes. Game ends in a 1-1 draw. Indy 11 unbeaten at home. 14 straight going back to last year. Minnesota United, Rayo OKC. Watch this play. Ball goes over the head of the goalkeeper, but back to guess who? Christian Ramirez, who scores his league-leading 14th goal. Minnesota United, that's all they would need. 1-0 victory over Rayo OKC, the next opponent for the Armada. Cosmos and Strikers. This was a frustrating day for the Cosmos, who just couldn't find the net. When they did, it was called back on offsides. A 0-0 draw, but the Cosmos extend their unbeaten streak to 7 games. They continue to lead the fall season standings.
Really a remarkable week in the North American Soccer League. 7 points won by road teams. Pretty remarkable that you have that many teams going on the road. It wasn't too long ago that home teams were just about unbeatable around the NASL. Here's the fall season standings. Cosmos leading there. Indy 11 already has clinched a spot in the NASL Championship semifinal after their win of the spring season. Armada certainly have some work to do. They'd like to creep up into the mid-table by the time the season comes to a close. And the combined standings, Cosmos on top overall. They're certainly, if they don't even win the fall, they're in good shape to make it to the postseason. FC Edmonton, though, probably the surprise team of the year, in second place in the combined standings with less than 2 months yet to play. Now let's head to the Armada Boot Room, presented by Yemtech. And here on the Armada Boot Room, Andy Kidd back in. You know, we've talked a lot this year, Andy, about what the Armada identity is. Sometimes that's personality of the team, sometimes that's style of play. And you're starting to get a pretty good understanding of the style of play that they're going to play under Mark Lowry and maybe beyond.
Yeah, and I think what you've seen now that they've had that mini preseason camp, a renewed commitment to building out of the back, keeping the ball on the floor. The Armada don't have huge target forwards. They have guys that like the ball at their feet, like to use their technical skill. And I think you're going to see in some of these clips how the Armada are trying to pick those right times to build out of the back and go forward. And then some of those times when they really need to just get it down in the other end and clear it and live to see another day.
All right, let's take a look at a couple examples.
Yeah, this first clip is a good example right here of the Armada building out of the back, showing for each other, working together, and how it's going to draw Carolina's defense out. And what I really want you to watch is Scaglia's movement off the ball, and you're going to see Steinberger working with Scaglia off the ball to create a chance for the Armada going forward. So let's let it play here. And a lot of patience here out of the Armada, but you're going to see a lot of players showing for each other. You've got Pekka Lagerblom showing, Scaglia working out of the back, but they're not trying to just lump the ball forward here, and this is a good time to do it. They've got their numbers to support each other. They've got their nice runs off the ball. Danny Barrow showing for it. Doesn't get it, but you see Steinberger step in there. And then he's patient. All right, keep it. Don't just lump it forward here. We've got numbers here where we can keep possession. And this is when it gets really good for the Armada. You can see some great runs off the ball, and I just want to circle a couple of guys here. Steinberger checks in, and he's going to get a ball here from Danny Barrow, but watch the third man run from Scaglia now that they've broken down the Carolina defense. And you've got 1, 2, 3. I mean, you've got 6 Carolina defenders here that the Armada are able to beat with one pass. So here we go. Let's let it play out here. And the Armada are one step away from getting our man Keita into the attack here. Keita's very disappointed. They doesn't get that ball, and Scaglia knows he should have done better there. But that's a great example. Probably 15 passes there where the Armada keep the ball on the ground, make Carolina chase, and it turns into a chance. Now here's an example of the Armada where they probably just need to clear it and live to see another day. So let's see what happens here. On defense, you're packed in. Carolina's pushed forward. They've got numbers in the box. Get a turnover here. Beto Navarro has a chance to clear it. Steinberger has a chance to clear it. Scaglia has a chance to clear it. Danny Barrow, and then we turn it over right there. And that's one of those times where you probably don't need to build it out of the back. Obviously, everybody thinks it's our throw in here too, but you just need to clear it, live to see another day, and make Carolina build out of their third.
And it seems like part of that is about everybody understanding how the system should work. The other part of this is young players figuring out, sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
Exactly. You've got some youth players in there, younger players in there that are learning the system under Coach Lowry and Nathan Walter and what they want their Armada to look like. And it's going to take some time, but I think you're going to see some growth from this game after they've been able to watch the film to the Rio OKC game.
Andy, thanks so much. All right, coming up, we'll take a closer look at things, including what we can expect from the Armada bouncing back from the loss in Carolina. Stick around, more to come. Armada Kickoff rolls on. Hey, get buy one, get one free Armada tickets when you head to Subway. All you have to do is do like Alex Dixon, Danny Barrow, and Derek Gebhardt did. Walk into a Subway, order an Armada FC meal deal, get any sub. That's an easy part there. Get a voucher for buy one, get one free for any of the remaining home matches, and go online, and you'll be out at Community First Park to watch the Armada.
Players that you can switch around, and
We're going to be very strong.
We saw a lot of different players, a lot of different lineups.
Back here on the Analyst Roundtable, presented by Subway, David Hayes, Andy Kidd. All right, David, first time the Armada coming off a loss under Mark Lowry. What are you expecting?
I mean, the same thing. I mean, every good coach and team is going to lose a game. I just think that you keep moving the right direction. For me, the only downfall or the only negative I saw was that they looked a little sluggish. I don't know if it was they trained too hard during the off season, the off week, or they trained too less, or the players didn't take care of themselves. But that's the only negative. But for me, they just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, you keep grinding. Obviously Coach Lowry and his staff have started to implement their style and what they want to see. It's still early in that process. They didn't have a full preseason to implement anything. So this was game one kind of the new season. And, I think you'll see some more, strides against OKC. And that could be, a great, recipe for their Armada. OKC's coming off some tough games themselves, so maybe go there. It's a little maybe easier to play than in Carolina.
Yeah, interesting. We're waiting to hear word on Miguel Gallardo's injury. Sean Lewis certainly has performed well for the Armada, but to not have that veteran back there, what kind of an impact does that have?
Yeah, I think from a leadership standpoint, it hurts. I think Mark Lowry has shown that he's going to lean on Gallardo to be that leader in the back and be that presence, that veteran presence. From a performance standpoint, I don't think you lose a ton. Sean's shown that he can play at a high level. He can make all the saves. He can come out on the crosses and make those plays. But I think from a leadership vocal standpoint, you may have to lean on Tyler or Mishak to kind of take that role.
Yeah, I think Lewis steps in. I think he's already proven himself. My concern would be, what do you do after Lewis? Where do you go from there if he goes down? That's my concern, but I think he can do the job.
All right. The other thing we certainly need to talk about is these next two road matches before coming back home. The Armada have won away under Mark Lowry, so we know they can do it. If they do it again, David, is 4 points in these next two matches a good result?
Yeah, it's a great result, but I think 6 points. If you look at OKC, they've lost the last 4 games. If you look at Puerto Rico, they haven't won in 8 games. So for me, if there's ever a time that we can win 6 points on the road, it's now.
Yeah, and I would say just because the Armada need points badly right now, you wouldn't change your approach on the road. You go on the road, and granted, you're right, Dave, those guys, the other teams have struggled, Puerto Rico and Rio OKC, but going on the road in this league is tough, and the Armada have certainly had their times, struggling on the road. So going out there, and if you came back with 4 points, I think I would say, Coach Lowry, job well done.
All right, Andy Kidd, David Hayes, thanks so much. Coming up, we take a closer look at Rio OKC and what the Armada have in store for them on Sunday. Stick around, more Armada Kickoff is straight ahead.
Next up for the Armada, it's the club's first ever trip to Oklahoma to face Rayo OKC. The NASL expansion side are led by a pair of highly experienced players, former Greek World Cup player Georgios Samaras and Brazilian and MLS veteran Michel, who was fourth in the NASL with 8 goals scored. It will be the 6th game on artificial turf for the Armada this year, with their first time playing at Miller Stadium in suburban Oklahoma City.
So the Armada's next opponent overall is also their next home opponent. 2 weeks later, the Armada back home at Community First Park to face Rayo OKC. It is Hispanic Heritage Night. Be a lot of Latin music before the game, food trucks. You'll enjoy it. 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have coverage beginning at 6:30. For tickets, 8442-ARMADA or go online to armadafc.com. Remember, you get the very latest on the Armada on armadafc.com anytime. And on radio, Monday nights at 6 o'clock, you can hear from the head coach. It's the Armada Coaches Show featuring Mark Lowry on Sports Radio 930. And every Wednesday at 6, we have the Armada Soccer Show with everything from the Armada, the North American Soccer League, and around the world of soccer. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll have more next week. And join us on Sunday for the Armada in Rayo OKC beginning at 7:30 right here on CW17. Thanks for watching us. We'll see you next time.
Armada Kickoff is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes, the mark of a quality home.